Now, get ready for this. A lot of Americans are expected to hit the road this summer because we all want to get away. We want to take a vacation. We're sick and tired of COVID-19. And a lot of people, this could be a huge traveling summer. Are you ready for this? Gas stations could, in fact, be running out of gas this year. Not because there's not plenty of it to go around, but there's no way to get it to the gas stations. Gas stations running out of gas because the tanker drivers aren't there. Let's find out why. Joining us on our newsmaker line right now is Jim Grundy, a trucking industry expert. Jim, thanks for joining us tonight. How big of a problem is it for these tanker truck companies to find drivers right now, Jim?
It's a substantial problem that it's not really impacting certain industries as it's impacting everything nationwide and worldwide. For instance, when we see the issues happening in the Suez Canal recently, right? Everybody's like, well, now there's a shipping problem and the supply chain disruption there. Yeah, but at the end of those shipping vessels, there's truckers pulling that product, both importing and exporting goods all over the country. What's happening now and what's been happening since the beginning of the pandemic, they estimate 40 to 50% of truckers have left the market, right, in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen is, and we're already seeing it, the cost of oil and gas is going up. You're seeing the cost of goods going up, and the companies aren't absorbing that cost. It's going to be the end users at the end of the day. It's going to be the consumers that are going to wind up paying for that, and that's where inflation comes from.
Why are so many truckers leaving the trade?
Well, when you shut down manufacturing and when we shuttered so much, domestically that we did, and I can't really speak for other countries, but our reaction to the pandemic here where we shut everything down, well, at the end of all those companies being shut down as a truck driver delivering goods to and from. They had nothing to do. So it was a good time. The trucker already is an aged employee for the most part. They're the average, they're in their 50s. So a lot of these guys took the time to retire, find new industries, pivot and transition to something that is more probably steady or they can trust. And additionally, there's a lot of guys that are still living off unemployment from the government.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We've heard a lot about the trucking industry, but this story today I saw takes really a look at the tanker truckers and the fact that, more people are going to be hitting the road this year. We're all sick and tired of this pandemic, and we want to get out and do something, Jim. And if you can't get the gasoline to the gas stations or the convenience stores, we're in a world of hurt, Jim, aren't we?
I tell you what, I run a company that has well over 100 truckers down. We're based out of Fort Worth, Texas. Our guys average $12,000 gross revenue a week. You would think we would have people lined out the door trying to do what we're doing, and we're begging for truck drivers ourselves, and they're making that kind of money, and we still struggle recruiting. We still struggle finding people that want to do that job at that kind of revenue. And it's a problem that's really been 30 years in the making, where we've kind of shunned the truck driver and that career. Yeah, we have truck drivers at Sisu Energy down here in Fort Worth making more than hedge fund managers. So now we're seeing it in other industries play out, but it's been a problem for the last 20 years. I mean, in oil and gas alone, they're estimating 20% of all oil tankers are gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just in that one small sector. But overall, it's 40 to 50% of all truckers are all across the country, they estimate, have left the market. And here in the next couple of years, they're estimating 100,000 truck shortage nationwide, delivering goods to and from and getting people what they need. So the problem is not going to be short-lived. It's going to continue being a problem, and as long as we keep promoting careers that don't pay anything and turning our nose up to what we call blue-collar work, when these guys are making $500,000 a year. It's unbelievable.
Well, I was going to say, Jim, why is it so hard? I mean, you're talking some real money here that truckers can make. Then why is it so hard to recruit them?
It's baffling. But you go look at some of the schools and look at how many new applicants they have in these trucking schools, and they're few and far between. You also take a look at what insurance companies are doing to truckers. Like the insurance company we have, and we have what's considered A-plus paper. It's really good insurance. You have to be 25 years old to be a truck driver. You have to have 2 years of minimum experience. You can't have any felonies. So right there, you're limiting your pool and your you're operating with a smaller population, and then consider how many companies won't even bring on a new driver without experience, and it's just and it all points back to federal regulations, ELD devices, insurance companies, and it's just made it to the point where the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore for a new truck driver. But our point is, hey, we're down here in Fort Worth. If you do have 2 years experience and you are struggling out there and you don't know where to go, we're averaging $12,000 a week, and that's not a joke. I mean, we were doing that all through 2020, and I guess we're a bit naive to think that no one else was doing it, or I guess we thought other people were doing it. And we kind of looked up and realized that, hey, we're one of the few companies out there afloat.
Jim, let me ask you this. Yeah.
Substantially better, and I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Jim. How hard is it to be a trucker today? How difficult is it to be out on the road and hauling stuff all the time?
I think it takes a unique individual. I think it takes a unique person that can be away from their home and, their families. It's much easier if you're single and you don't have a family. But at this day and age of the pandemic, and we're still in it, we're still involved with it. It still impacts people. We actually lost some drivers in our company due to the pandemic. And you take a look at that lifestyle, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Final question for you. What are your ideas? What do you think can be done to get more truckers out on the road? Get them trained and get them on the road, Jim.
I think we have to get some oversight on these insurance companies. Insurance companies have made it almost impossible for folks to afford insurance and get truckers involved. The amount of money they have to spend, anywhere from $18,000 to $20,000 a year just in liability alone, is way too high. Federal regulations also made it impossible in some aspects. So now they're looking at bringing foreign CDL drivers in from Mexico. That's already happening right now. They're allowing what they call international licenses to run our products here in North America, especially the U.S. But I think we got to look at what we're doing from a regulation standpoint and minimizing risk, and take a look at promoting opportunities like this rather than discouraging them.
On our Newsmaker line, Jim Grundy. Jim is a trucking industry expert. He's also the CEO and owner of Sisu Energy.